Good morning. Thank you all for taking the time to come out here. My name is Darren Council. I'm with the Bridgewater College Admissions Office. I'm a recent grad. I spent my time studying communications, media, and culture with a concentration in digital media, so kind of right up this alley. I'm with Dr. Sam Hamilton. He's the director of the Masters in Digital Media Strategies, and I'll go ahead and turn things over to him.
Thanks, Darren. So like Darren said, my name's Sam Hamilton. I'm an assistant professor of English and the director of the Digital Media Strategy Master's program here at Bridgewater College. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Digital Media Strategy Master's program, its affiliation with undergraduate programs, what its coursework is like, so on and so forth, and then answer any questions that you all had. So the MA in Digital Media Strategy program is a one-year professional master's program that focuses on the design, management, and impact analysis of digital media messages in a web environment. So the goal of the program is to get students good jobs in an expanding digital communication field with titles such as digital media specialist, social media strategist, digital media coordinator, so on and so forth. Now, this is a really fast-growing field, and I think actually the thing that we're living through right now is sort of evidence as to why. We've always sort of existed with these two worlds for the past 15 to 20 years. One world is the world that we're used to, where we walk around, we have handshakes with different people, we interact with them, we talk to them, we laugh with them. And then the other world which sort of exists alongside of it is this digital world, social media, interacting with folks via email, via text message, via Facebook Messenger, so on and so forth. And I think the fact that now the only way that we're able to communicate with each other, the only way that I'm able to give this information to you all is digitally, sort of shows just how important this digital world has become. And so I think that this is also emphasizing why this is one of the fastest growing fields right now. Over the course of the next 5 or 6 years, there's supposed to be an upwards of 140,000 new jobs in the field. And then these jobs have an average salary in the range of $60,000 to $100,000 a year. So these are a lot of jobs, many of which are going to be right here in Virginia, in the North Carolina, Maryland, DC metro area. And they pay a good salary, right? So many of these jobs, including entry-level positions, though, they do require a master's degree and they do require a work experience. And one of the unique and great features about the MDMS program is that through the MDMS program, you actually get both. You get the master's degree, plus you get the work experience. You will finish, as I said before, you will finish the MDMS program in 1 calendar year, and you will have 1 calendar year's, at least, depending on what you do as an undergraduate, 1 calendar year's worth of professional practice experience, which means you're not going to be going into an entry-level position. You'll be going into an intermediate level, maybe even a sort of a first-level management position. While completing your coursework, as I mentioned, you'll work not just sort of with a lot of different businesses and corporations throughout the valley, but you'll also be doing some really interesting coursework related to user experience, web design, and visual design, and communication and studies analysis, and things like that. We do all of these things because it's an interdisciplinary program. So what makes our program unique is that students will both design and manage digital messages, as well as measure the effectiveness of those messages when they're promoting some favorable public image for different companies or for marketing purposes, so on and so forth. And right now, many of our students are working, well, actually, I should say all of our students are working with businesses and organizations in and around the Shen Valley, right? So they're producing videos and websites, they're producing strategic marketing and PR plans for different companies and organizations. And many of them right now, even though we have yet to graduate a full class, this is our first year as a program, so we'll graduate our first full class this coming May. Actually, the majority of our students right now actually have jobs already lined up. So many of them are actually working full-time during the day and also completing their master's program at night. And they were able to find these positions based on the work that they were doing in the MDMS program. So we believe that as a program and as an institution, that the jobs of the future, the jobs even of right now, the jobs that are making the world go round as we speak, jobs like digital media coordinator, social media strategist, these types of jobs require skills from a variety of disciplines, each of which is represented in our program. So I want to talk a little bit about then what the curriculum is like. It's a 39 credit hour master's program. It can be completed in 1 calendar year after your 4-year bachelor's degree. So if you complete a bachelor's degree, you could actually, during your senior year, start to take some of the classes that would count towards the master's degree. And then the following May, so one May, May following your graduation as an undergraduate, you will actually finish with a master's degree as well. The 9 of the 39 credit hours, so 3 courses, will be electives. And as I said, you can take these electives as a senior at Bridgewater College. It's one of the unique features of this particular program, that you can actually get some graduate level credit towards a master's degree while you are still an undergraduate at Bridgewater College. And those credits will count towards both your master's degree as well as your bachelor's degree. I'll share with you the graduate catalog right now, just so that you can take a look at what some of these courses look like. So this is the graduate catalog for the MDMS program, all right? As you can see, it's a 39 credit hour graduate, or a 39 credit hour master's program, right? And these courses right here represent the core courses, right? So in the summer of your first year, you would take DMS 500, which is a general sort of survey analysis of what digital media, what does the digital media, social media, collaborative media landscape look like in this day and age. You'll take that in June. Following that, you'll take this second course here, DMS 505, Digital Writing Genres and Processes. And then the last course for the summer sequence is DMS 515, Digital Media Production Strategies. And this is where you will be working with one faculty member will teach you how the audio production skills, how to capture and edit and produce really sort of high quality, crisp, clean audio. And then the second half of the course will focus on video production. So how do you capture and produce and edit sort of high quality video content? You'll actually end up finishing that summer course sequence with a video artifact that you can then put immediately into your professional portfolio. Starting then in the fall, after you've finished the summer sequence, you'll take this course here, DMS 541, Consulting Strategies. So this is a course that focuses on how it is if you're going to work with the business and you're going to be working with clients, what is the best way that you can make sure that you help the clients get exactly what they need? Sometimes you'll discover in this field that clients will want something that either won't work for them or will want something that maybe is infeasible. And so as a consultant, your responsibility will be to inform them gracefully how it is that, what the best strategy for their company or their organization might be. And that Consulting Strategies course is one that will help you do that. In addition to that course, you'll also be taking DMS 520, which is Multimedia Storytelling. This is a course that is designed on the idea that the most important component of marketing, the most important component of public relations, really the most important component of reaching out and being connected with somebody is to tell a good story, right? Data is important, analysis is important, bottom line profits are important, so on and so forth. But the way that different companies are able to sort of establish themselves as a positive force for good, the way that different organizations and institutions are able to establish themselves as forces for good is through their ability to craft really rich and empowering and powerful stories. And that happens these days as much in face-to-face communication as it does in digital communication. And then the next course that you'll be taking during the fall sequence would be Digital Persuasion. Again, this is a course which is built on really old principles. And Darren, you probably remember a lot of these old principles from your comm major. So old principles of rhetoric that come from Plato and Aristotle, ideas that, here's how you persuade somebody. Well, what does persuasion look like in a rich digital multimedia collaborative environment, right? I'm going to skip ahead to the spring courses, and then we'll talk a little bit about a special sequence of courses that you'll complete as a graduate student, the project sequence. So the spring courses, you'll focus on one of them is called Interactive Web Development, user experience, user interface design, basically. So how do you create a website that allows people to navigate and comfortably and freely and easily and access the information that they're searching for and gain it, sort of quickly and easily. And then the second course that you'll be taking is, all of this is wonderful. To this point, you've been producing great media, you've been analyzing great media, but what does it mean sort of in terms of the bottom line for the company, the bottom line for the organization? How do you know, in other words, is it working? And so that course is digital media campaign targeting and analytics. And this is where you actually look at the back end component, right? So you made a YouTube video. Great. How many people are watching it? When are they watching it? How long are they watching it into the video? So on and so forth. All right. So that will then be your fall courses and your spring courses. I'm going to stop sharing now. The other course sequence that I haven't talked about yet is actually, I think, one of the most unique features of this particular master's program, and that is the project course sequence. So this starts in the fall of your first year. You'll be working with an instructor, Professor Erickson, developing a project where you'll be coordinating with a local business and a local organization to produce for them sort of a richly multimodal, multimedia, digital media strategy program for that company or that organization. And so you start that in the fall, and then you'll continue that on into the spring, and then you'll finish it in the May term. And that will be the last course that you take. That is roughly the equivalent in terms of a graduate program of a master's thesis. So rather than writing a big 50 or 60 page research article that you and your advisor will read and that's about it, you're actually going to be working with an organization and a company to produce pieces of video maybe, or a website, or a combination of videos and websites, so on and so forth, that will actually go immediately into use. And this is where you gain your professional experience. So you'll be working with this company during the day. You'll be making these things that will go into your portfolio. The company will be providing for you feedback. They're serving basically as the client. And then at the end of the fall, spring, and then May term, you sit down and there will be an evaluation of it. So it will involve myself, Professor Erickson, as well as the company client that you've been working for. They'll evaluate you on the effectiveness of that. You'll be able to talk to them about why you made these various design decisions, how it's performing in terms of its analytics on Google or its analytics on YouTube, so on and so forth. And you'll be able to say, in other words, this was a successful digital media strategy campaign, and here's all the proof for that. All right. So again, this is I think a unique master's program for a variety of reasons. One, you're able to tie it into your undergraduate curriculum in a way that not many institutions offer you the ability to do. So you're able to complete some of the coursework as a senior at BC that will tie directly into your undergraduate BA as well as your graduate MA. Two, you're able to gain not just a master's degree, which is sort of a very valuable higher ed commodity when you're going off onto the job market, but also in addition to that, a year at least of experience. And depending on what you do as an undergraduate, you could gain more internship experience or more professional experience, so on and so forth. And you get an opportunity to work with professors and faculty members who are not just sort of experienced in terms of the academy, right? Who have PhDs and MFAs, these terminal degrees. But we've got folks who are working in our faculty who have served as political consultants for political campaigns. We've got folks who are the CEOs of small design companies here in the Valley. We've got folks who work on the campaign who've worked as professional or technical writers for sort of large companies, large organizations. And so we have both academic experience as well as professional experience. And I think that's what makes this program particularly unique. And I think an excellent opportunity for anybody who's interested in attending Bridgewater College, or anybody really. So that concludes my spiel. I'm happy to field any questions from you all, and ask me about anything that you have any curiosities about.
Yeah, let me go ahead and check into the chat here. Okay, no questions as of yet, but just to start, if you would like to answer, you mentioned earlier that students already have some jobs lined up. Would you care to elaborate about what some of those opportunities are?
Sure. So like I said, I mean, our first cohort isn't set to graduate until May. So the program hasn't even had its first graduating class yet, and yet most of our candidates have already secured jobs. So one candidate is currently working, and I have a list here I'm going to read off of. One candidate is currently working as a digital sales and marketing analyst for a Virginia-based national company. So this is based in Virginia, but has dealings with around the country. Another works as a knowledge-based, or has worked and will continue to work as a knowledge-based administrator for an international publicly traded tech company. And one is we've got several candidates who are working as a creative producer or a content producer. So these are folks who are producing videos and making websites and things like that. And again, working for small institutions, nonprofit organizations, as well as sort of publicly traded, companies. We've got a couple of user experience designers. Same thing. They're working for smaller companies here in the area. And then a number of them have also started up their own digital media consultancies, right? And so I would say of the class that we've got graduating this May, I would say probably 60% of them have already sort of lined up these gigs. And the others are, basically in the process of sending out applications and determining where they want to work and how they want to work and who they want to work for, right? So this has been really exciting for us because, that was, you always, as an educational program that is designed to get people jobs, right? We want to get them good experience so that they can get a good job. The first year is always going to be nerve-wracking because fingers crossed, like, are we doing the right thing here? And it turns out we are. So our, like I said, our candidates are getting jobs, and that's great. I think it made everyone in the program super happy. Obviously, the students are incredibly happy. So, and I imagine I have an update for anybody, come May when our students have finally graduated and they've got all their resumes out there, that I imagine that we'll have a 100% placement rate. That's the goal. I mean, it's always going to be the goal, and it always will be the goal. So.
All right, so it looks like we have a question here from Mason. Let's see. Are there any minors, concentrations, etc., that you'd suggest to prepare better for the master's program?
So that's a great question. Currently, what's interesting about the program is though it was designed with a couple of majors and minors in mind, and I'll talk about those in a minute, currently our program actually has students from a variety of majors, including, I think, some of the obvious ones, Darren. So your degree in communication studies, I think that's one of the obvious ones. Our master's program is actually housed within our communication department here at Bridgewater, but also business and art and digital media art. We also have currently a biology student, a biology BA who's in the program. We've got somebody coming to us from a nearby college who was an environmental scientist. So, I think it draws people from a variety of interests. And I think one of the reasons that it does that is, sure, if you've got the skill set and you've got the talents because you were a communication major or a digital media art major or a professional writing major, that's one route. But then I would say the other way that you can become invested in the program is if you have a passion. So if you are involved in, this environmental scientist who's coming to us from a nearby university. So this person is coming to us and he's got an incredible passion in environmental science and environmental justice. And he has realized that the best way that he can use that passion or leverage that passion is through one of these digital media coordinator, social media strategist positions. In other words, producing really good content, really beautiful stories that are promoting environmental justice or environmental science. And I think that's another route that you can take to get to the program. I would say the obvious majors or minors or concentrations that align most closely with the curriculum of the program: communication studies, digital media art, professional writing, business administration. I would say that the vast majority of the students who come to that program from Bridgewater are coming from those majors. But again, I think depending upon sort of your inclination and how it is that you approach whatever field you're in, the program is certainly, it's got a place for just about everybody, because as we're all experiencing right now, so does digital media. Digital media is a necessary component of all aspects of our lives these days, whether it's promoting a cause or promoting a business or an organization, or, as my wife and I will get ready to do later today, ordering groceries. I mean, these are all things now that are shot through with digital media. You can't get by without them.
So it looks like we do have another question from Jasmine. This says, are there any tech requirements? So I'm guessing like cameras, computers, Mac versus Windows. Is there any sort of leverage or lean that a student should have?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we have on our, and I'm looking on our website right now to get the specific page up, and I'll share that with you. So do you have all right. So right now we have a dedicated tab on the MDMS program's main page that lists all of the necessary technological requirements and whatnot. I think anybody who's interested at this level, so if you're sort of I'm talking to folks who are interested in an undergraduate degree first, and then maybe sort of aligning that with the master's degree later on. You got to recognize the speed at which these technological requirements move, right? So this is a good list for the incoming class. I imagine that in 1 year's time, these requirements will shift and change as different technologies are created and different technologies, different platforms are created on the web, so on and so forth. I'd imagine in 4 years' time, these technological requirements will have changed dramatically. But what I will say sort of right off the bat is, what you see here is basically you want to make sure that you have some good equipment in terms of audio recording equipment and some good equipment in terms of video recording equipment. So a good camera, a good microphone, right? And right now, sort of these are the recommended requirements, and these are coming directly down from the professionals who teach in the program, they're experts in this field. So the recommendations in terms of the cameras, they're coming from the professors who are our videographers, our photographers, who are sort of at the forefront of what it means to be sort of a photograph or videography producer, right? Same thing for the microphones. These are coming from somebody who has worked for 25 plus years in the audio recording, audio engineering business. And so, they're specific. They tell you sort of exactly what is required. And these are, again, people who are, as they continue to teach in the program and work for the program, are sort of have their fingers always on the pulse. I'll actually say that this list of requirements, it's embarrassing to say, but on the website, is actually, as of right now, out of date. So I had to send out, as a director, a new list of requirements to all of our incoming students, because some of these technical requirements just on this list right now have already sort of been superseded by different and cheaper products that are available, right? In terms of computers, I think, any computer that can get you through, say, online, if you do any PC gaming or online gaming or things like that, if you do any sort of audio production or video production just sort of on your own, you make YouTubes on your own, that computer is going to do you well, because one of the other features of the program is that we actually have on site the digital media lab, which will sort of always be updated and always features sort of the newest and best workstations for students to use when they're a student in the program.
Yeah, it looks like we actually do have a follow-up question from Dayton. So he asks, are any of the technological requirements provided by the school? So I guess, are any of the cameras, things like that, available to be rented or something like that?
Yes. So we have equipment, as I said, we have the workstations available through the digital media lab. We've also, through the art department in the digital media art major, we've also been accumulating some hardware that students are able to use when they're on site and take off site and sort of rent off site. I know also that the new Learning Commons has different equipments that you're able to get through the library. But I want to share with you one quick story, because it just happened. So last fall, one of the core courses that students were working in, multimedia storytelling, they were working with a company here in the area called Hygeia. And the work that they were doing for this particular company, the folks that they were working with, the client that they were working with, they were so impressed that they actually went out of their way and contacted the professor of that course, Professor Scott Jost, and they said, "We love the work so much, we want to give you a gift." And so they gave, through Bridgewater College, they gave a gift of, I forget how many hundreds of dollars it was, to the MDMS program. And with that money, that we're purchasing a new camera that students are able to use as a part of the program. Now, I like that story, not just because it answers your question. Yes, of course, we have equipment that students are able to use. We have different microphones that they're able to use, different cameras, different, computer setups and whatnot, programs and software, et cetera. But also because I think it just shows, like, it's a very new program. It's a very young program, and yet it's already sort of making headways into the community around us. It's already impressing people. It's already saying, look, this is the work that Bridgewater College students are able to do when they go out. It's enough that a company was willing to sort of unprompted offer a gift to the program and a gift to the students. And I think that just sort of is a testament to the quality of the students. It's also a testament to the quality of the program.
So it looks like we do have a question from Erica. It says, what is the timeline to finish if I'm working while taking the master's program?
So we have 3 students right now who are working full-time and also working on the master's program, and each of those students is going to finish in 2 years as opposed to 1 year. So it's all built off of, I would say, the baseline student, the typical student, it would take 1 calendar year. They would take 3 courses during their senior year as an undergraduate, and then they would finish all their coursework in the following year. When you move into taking it part-time, you can sort of pick and choose. I think the 3 students that we have wanted to finish it as quickly as it was capable for them. And so because they were working full-time during the day, that meant taking 2 or 3 classes each of the terms. So they took the 3 summer core courses, and then they took 2 courses in the fall, 2 courses in the spring. This coming year, they will take 2 courses in the fall, one of which will be one of the project sequence courses, and then they'll finish up the project sequence course the spring and the May of their second year, in other words. You have the ability to sort of piecemeal it together over the course of 5 years. So between the time when you take your first graduate course and your last graduate course can be up to 5 years. That's sort of how long the graduate credits will count towards that particular degree. But I would say most folks finish it in that 1 to 2 year range, even if they are working full time.
I am not seeing any more questions at the time. Is there anything that you'd like to maybe elaborate on a little bit? See if we get a couple more questions out of the chat.
Oops, sorry. What do you think would be best to elaborate on, Darren? I mean, I think you had this experience last week. What do you think students would like to know most about, or prospects?
Yeah. I feel like a student may be wondering, if you're potentially coming out of, let's say, another institution. So, you're going to another school, you'd like to be a part of this program.
Sure.
What sort of classes would you recommend that students be taking? Like, are there required classes or courses?
Yeah, so we want to make sure that students have some experience in writing for this new media environment, right? So that can be news writing, multimedia writing, things like that. And we also want to make sure that students have a little bit of experience with visual design, just an understanding of the basic principles of visual design. And so if you look at the prerequisites for the program, I think we identify 2 courses that from Bridgewater College's undergraduate catalog, Introduction to News Writing, and then Intro to Visual Design. These are both sort of intro level classes. First year students oftentimes are able to take them in their second semester of their first year. But they're courses, again, that focus on, one of the, I would say, prerequisite skills of entering into this program would be the ability to string together a sentence, so written communication and some sense of how a visual design, a visual thing, a visual composition can be put together beautifully, right? So principles of visual design. There are a variety of courses that satisfy those requirements. And I think those are oftentimes, I'm able to, when I'm working with potential applicants, able to sort of help them figure out sort of what those experiences are. I will say, we actually have this in this coming cohort, we have the first cohort was primarily internal students. This second cohort, we will have, I would say probably 40% of them are going to be students who are coming from other institutions. And so they're coming from JMU and EMU and, other smaller colleges and things like that around the area. And I think that a lot of these students, they're, like I said, they're bringing together courses that aren't named the same way as our courses are at BC. And yet, what I'm able to do is I'm able to sit down with them and we're able to go through their transcript and say, well, what were the projects that you completed for this course? And most frequently, students, I think it's hard these days to graduate with a bachelor's degree without some experience in sort of good written communication and some principles of visual design.
All right, this sounds good. I'm not seeing any more questions from the chat, so I guess we can just go ahead and wrap things up on that end. I did want to say thank you so much for spending your time, asking your questions, watching this video and everything. I know a lot of you students are still, making your college decision. It's a very turbulent time we're all having to deal with right now. we do have a variety of different options for you all to be able to, come in and sort of see campus, whether that be virtually, well, almost exclusively virtually now, but we have plenty of opportunities for you all to be able to, speak with us through Zoom sessions. As counselors, we're here to answer you guys' questions. So anything you need, definitely feel free to reach out to our office. Definitely check out our website and see what some of those online opportunities are. For students who are in the chat, it looks like we did just have a survey that was put in. So if you guys wouldn't mind taking a couple minutes, filling that out, we'd very much appreciate it so we can make these videos as good as possible. Hope you all have a wonderful day and stay healthy and safe.
Thanks so much. Have a great day.